Hey guys, what's going on? Mike the Caveman Q here again, Paleo Problem Long Island, MikeTheCaveman.com, and we have another edition of Ask Mike the Caveman, Monday nights with Mike, doing our live stream Facebook Q&A, and yeah, ask me anything health related. So, what you do, obviously, comment with your question, put it on in, and we'll be ready to go. So, while I'm waiting for people to start putting down comments and putting down questions, I'll start with one from my good friend Dave, and Dave said that unfortunately he wouldn't be able to make it tonight to the 8 o'clock, so we're going to start with Dave's question while I'm waiting for you guys to put your questions in that comment box. And Dave's question is, between physical labor and weight training, my hands are taking a beating. Is there anything I should be doing, eating, supplementing to combat arthritis? Now, I've done an article, a video on joints and just inflammation there. So what's arthritis? Well, it's inflammation of the joints. So biggest things you're going to want to do, you're going to want to actually bring down inflammation. So if we're talking about topical, first of all, so hands always in pain, first thing you want to do, BioCream, particularly for that arthritis pain. That's going to help bring down the swelling. It's going to reduce the pain through the analgesic effect, and is going to help to heal any damage that's going on in there. Next up, you're going to want to actually deal with that inflammation internally. So things like CBD, things like fish oil, or just eating more fish, things like Synchro Gold, which is a turmeric, piperine, ginger extract. So turmeric is a great idea. Those will help to bring down that inflammation. From there, actually dialing in diet. So increasing omega-3s, reducing omega-6s. So by doing that, by bringing your omega-3 to omega-6 ratio to balance, you're going to help to reduce inflammation. So, what can we do to do that? Well, you remove grains, you remove legumes, you remove grain-fed animals. That's why it's super important about the grass-fed, the pasture-raised. What that's doing is it's actually changing the ratio of omega-3 to omega-6. Just like what we eat affects us, it affects the animals too. And when those animals are eating the right things, they have a higher proportion of omega-3s and a lower proportion of omega-6. And we think of omega-3s as being anti-inflammatory. They aren't inherently, well, they are, but omega-6s aren't inherently pro-inflammatory is my point. It's rather that the ratio is completely thrown off. So bring that ratio back to balance of 3 to 6, and you'll be ready to rock. From there, things like gelatin and bone broth are going to be your best bets. Hey, Mike, hey, Vittori, what's up, guys? But, yeah, let's finish up the arthritis question. Essentially, we already talked about bringing down inflammation topically, bring it down systemically, internally. Last one, and dietarily. Last one, though, is you're going to want to get that bone broth and gelatin in, as the glycine, the proline, and the glutamine will help to reduce the inflammation. Al, what's up, man? Congratulations. I'm so pissed I didn't get to be there. I might have had a little inside scoop on that, actually, but congratulations again. Al, who just joined us, whether he stays or not, who knows, just got promoted to purple belt, the Long Island MMA, so huge deal. Congrats, brother. Well deserved. But, yeah, so finish up on that arthritis one. Like I was saying, that gelatin, that bone broth, super important. It's going to help with those joints, with your skin, hair, nail, bone. It's going to help with gut lining, and that's going to help reduce inflammation as well. No problem, dude. So, other questions. While we're waiting for some questions to come on in right now, I had a question from my buddy Johnny, and he had asked me the other day, he texted me regarding whether or not you should be supplementing with apple cider vinegar pills, capsules, things like that. And with that, not really a fan. Really think that you should be going with actual apple cider vinegar, okay? Now, that question comes up a lot. How do I make it taste all right? Well, generally what I'll do, I don't really care, I just get a shot. But I have done it with a little bit of lemon juice and some stevia, and it makes almost like a lemonade. The acid of the lemon blends well with the acid of the apple cider vinegar. It's coming from apples, already a fruit, doesn't change up too much. So just think of it as being like a fermented apple lemon juice, lemonade rather. That's option one. Option two is making something like fire water. So you can add things like cayenne. You can add things like, again, that lemon juice again, potentially a little bit of honey depending on where you're at. And that's going to make it a little bit more palatable. And it's going to give you a little bit extra benefit as well. Yes, Sarah, everybody should just grow up and just deal with the taste. I agree. Lucas, same for rheumatoid arthritis. Yes, similar steps. Arthritis, again, whenever you see the word itis, it means inflammation. Whenever you see an itis, you're dealing with some type of itis, besides maybe food coma, different animal, but shouldn't be doing that in the first place. Any other itis, if you have that going on, you want to deal with inflammation. Systemically is a great idea. One other thing I didn't, saying that, one other thing I didn't mention that could be a great idea is systemic enzymes. So something like fibrenza is a great idea as well, because it can help to break up scar tissue. So if you have late stage arthritis and it's locking up because it's building up scar tissue, something like fibrenza can help to break up that fibrous tissue and bring down the inflammation long term. So regarding the arthritis, like we said, deal with inflammation topically, internally, get your diet on point, and bone broth gelatin, potentially some systemic enzymes. Regarding the apple cider vinegar, the next one, like Sarah said, man up, drink the apple cider vinegar. You can flavor it up a little bit, change it up. All right. Let's see. Let's get some questions going, guys. Come on. We have a bunch of people on, but keep it rolling. Other things, I had another question regarding, what was I asked earlier today? Let me pull that up while I'm waiting for those other questions to come in. I had one from Murray. She had an interesting one that I wanted to dig a little more. So there are pasture-raised eggs at Whole Foods, and there are pasture-raised eggs at Fairway. And both of them are from the company Vital Farms. Now, what's interesting about that is that one of them is organic, the other is not. The other is actually non-GMO verified. She wanted to know which one's better. Well, I always talk about how pasture-raised is the big thing you're looking for with poultry and eggs, and pork as well. But what is better? Is it better to be organic pasture-raised or non-GMO pasture-raised? Well, you would think organic. And what was interesting was when she cracks those eggs open, they are consistently more yellow, the yolk that is, more orangey yellow, like a thicker, darker orange in the ones that are the non-GMO verified, not the organic. And that orange yolk, that really dark and bright orange yolk, which was oxymoron, dark and bright. But if you've seen a really good yolk, you know what I mean. The better yolks are in the non-GMO verified one. And that was interesting. The reason why I don't think it's really that big of a deal either way is the fact that that organic certification and that non-GMO certification, they're kind of interchangeable, because if you're going to spend the money to get one of them, you're probably following the practices to get the other. It's just that due to regulations, it costs a whole bunch of money to get either of those. So for farmers' sakes, it's not always the best idea to get both. So if you see that pasture-raised label, though, more often than not, you think they're generally doing the right thing. In an ideal world, you can actually go visit the farm that you're going to be getting it from and ask the farmer questions. But Vital Farms, solid brand. I'm okay with either the organic or the pasture-raised. Murray found out that the non-GMO verified one was the better one, and do what you gotta do. Pick the one that you think is best for you. Both should be good. All right. Come on, guys. Let's get some questions going. You make me feel like Ferris Bueller over here. Bueller. But, let's see. What other kind of questions we got going on? I had some other ones coming in regarding... I'll wait for those, but let's see. What else? Anybody? Questions? Oh, that was it. Let's go back to that apple cider vinegar one again. So, the reason why the capsules pills, he was looking to see if it could actually target fat deposits and get us into a squirrely neighborhood. There really isn't anything that's going to too effectively just go in and say, oh, I'm going to tackle that down. Mostly, the best way to actually get fat burning is to eat real foods and have a slight caloric deficit, ideally by way of lowering the carbohydrate, as that's going to change your endocrine response. So basically, you're going to lower your insulin. What that's going to do is it's going to cause you to release those free fatty acids in a fed state. you have higher insulin levels to bring down that blood sugar, and you don't liberate your free fatty acids. So, if you want to liberate that fat, you don't need apple cider vinegar pills. Just go and eat some real food. Alright? Hey, Rob. Hey, what's up, Mike? What's up, Lisa? How you guys doing? Again, questions, put them on in that comment box. Keep it rolling. But so far, once again, we talked about arthritis. Talked a whole bunch about arthritis. Talked a little bit about apple cider vinegar and why you should be doing the actual liquid and not the pills. Talked about, what else we talked about? Lose my own head. We're talking about, that whole fat burning. Well, that's actually going to be targeted fat burning. I missed one, too. We talked about something else a minute ago. I don't know. And we congratulated Al Percy on his purple belt. So, we got that going, too. Yeah, so let's get some more questions, and we'll keep it going here. What other good questions we got? I know I had some other ones coming in. I mean, yeah, it was a little slow night. You guys, very shy out there. Okay, we have one on anemia. That was one that I had relatively recently. What can we do about anemia from a vegetarian bent? Okay, so essentially, I've done videos talked about how non-heme iron is inferior to heme iron. It's better absorbed. But if you absolutely refuse to eat meat, which are the only source of heme iron, what you're going to need to do is make sure that you're getting in some quality greens. You're going to want to lightly steam them. We talked about that last week in the live stream about when you're eating greens, if you want those minerals, you got to cook them at least a little bit. In their raw form, they're going to be bound up by phytic acid and oxalic acid. They're going to bind up, they're going to chelate those minerals. They're not really going to let them loose. By lightly steaming or sauteing them, it's going to release those minerals. And to really ensure that iron absorption, particularly in that bent from plants, what you're going to need to do is have it with some vitamin C. So, how do you do that? Squeeze a little lemon on, and you'll be ready to go. So, add some type of vitamin C source, and you'll be able to better absorb that non-heme iron. Alright? Questions? Bueller. Anybody? What else we got? Oh, I had another question regarding, earlier, I got a text earlier regarding EMFs, so electromagnetic frequencies, which kind of ironic as I stand here, or sit here in front of a computer, or iPad rather, that's emitting Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which are EMFs. They are electromagnetic frequencies. And it's one of those where environmental exposure could potentially lead to some serious effects downstream. Really what it comes down to is that allostatic load. I've talked about that a whole bunch, and that's really just how much stress your body can handle. Okay? So, when we're talking about that stress, there's environmental toxins, there's viruses, bacteria, fungi that can go, so there's infectious toxins. There's stress in general, psycho-emotional stress. There is lack of sleep. There's inadequate sun exposure. There's a lot of different stresses that could be happening that could be a problem. Electromagnetic frequencies are just another one of those stresses. So, being too close to computers, being too close to cell phones, and being too close to your iPad, all that stuff, not a great idea all the time. And I'm not the best at that. I'm definitely, electronic addict myself. So, just be mindful of it. Deal with the other stresses. Reduce stress where you can, and it shouldn't be the worst thing. It's probably not going to be a great thing. We'll probably figure out in 50 years that we really jacked ourselves up pretty bad. But for now, good ideas are when you're getting ready to sleep, particularly if you have sleep issues, make sure all electronics are off. Potentially even remove them from your room. Consider using blue blocker glasses. Definitely use the nighttime mode feature on the iPhone, and I know it has a name on the Android. I don't know what it is, but nighttime mode, it'll turn the screen yellow. So whatever that's called on Android, use that, because blue light at night can actually interfere with your melatonin production, so it can interfere with sleep. No bueno. Alright, Mike. He asks, just had ACL surgery. What should I be taking to heal faster? I would go back and refer to what I was saying with the arthritis, similar kind of thing. What you want to be taking in, definitely bone broth gelatin in terms of foods. Those are going to help provide the materials you need to repair that ligament. From there, something like Vibrenza, the systemic enzymes, those are going to help to break down the fibrous tissue so that it doesn't lead to scar tissue buildup. From there, would definitely be doing fiber cream regularly, and potentially even direct comfrey on top of that. So a couple years back, I went and lost basically my entire nail here. I was re-racking a weight, and I went and caught it. I was put it in between, and it got caught in between the rack and the bar, and it ripped off the top of my finger. And I had a Pan Am tournament, major jiu-jitsu tournament coming up, and didn't want to not compete, so I was putting comfrey cream, I was putting dry comfrey herb, and I was putting on a comfrey liquid, so an extract, an alcoholic extract tincture, and it was taping it up, and I was actually a nut job and gluing it on to make sure that it came back. And nails supposed to take essentially 6 months to come back. Mine was back in a month and a half. I regrew entire part of my finger and the entirety of a new nail, and it fell off about a week after my tournament. I ended up actually just falling off. So comfrey root can regrow tissue. That's the reason why we got into that little tangent. Essentially, it's one of the major ingredients in the fire cream, and the idea behind it is that its active ingredient is something called allantoin, and that's so named after a part of the placenta known as allantoin. Now, what is in the placenta? Stem cells. So the allantoin, it's so named because it's essentially a phytostem cell. It's a plant-based stem cell. What it can do is it can regrow tissue. Skin, soft tissue, nail, bone, all of that fun stuff. So comfrey root, amazing stuff topically if you're looking for something to regrow. The reason why the fire cream works so well is the DMSO gets it in deeper, the cayenne brings blood flow to the area. So if you're providing proper nutrients internally, that collagen, that bone broth, the gelatin, all that fun stuff, you're bringing down inflammation both topically, applying the comfrey to that area. You can look into taking the systemic enzymes to make sure there's no fibrous tissue breaking up. So very similar answer to what I was going through with the arthritis, but yours I would probably, working with you directly, I would probably go a little bit higher on the doses than, say, an arthritis. In the arthritis case, it would be a lot lower versus, say, a repair from surgery. I would go definitely a lot higher on the systemic enzymes. I would definitely say systemic enzymes would be an almost no question. I would say definitely be taking those. Hey, Catherine, what's up? So just finished up with Michael's question there. Looking for a couple more. About another 10 minutes. I usually like to go on for half an hour. Been a little bit slower with the questions, but I think we covered a decent amount of stuff there. Talked about some EMFs and talked about, no problem, brother. Talked about EMFs, talked about arthritis, talked about ACL recovery, talked about the importance of omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. Let's see. What else we have? I'll wait for some more questions to come in while I'm looking here. I don't know when you jumped on, Murray, but I actually answered a couple of your questions before. I discussed what we talked about the EMFs a little bit, and I talked about what else did I talk about from your question? I answered something else from one of your questions, but that we talked about. Oh, the pastured eggs. That's what I missed when I was doing my little review about what we talked about. What organ meats are best? It's a great question. Liver, kidneys, heart's excellent. Not the top, but it's a muscle, but it has slightly more nutrition in it. So definitely liver, kidneys, and a little bit of the heart. Brain technically is a really healthy food, but it's a little bit in the squirrely area. I've never tried it. I don't know. I think you missed some questions before. Some coming in. Really? They're not popping up on my end. In terms of what animals? Great question. Grass-fed beef. So ideal world, grass-fed beef liver is your best option. I'm going to pull up on my phone and see if I have those questions. I don't see them. If there's other questions that
I asked earlier today.
And there goes the background noise. Shut up, Mike. Making myself, like, oh, wow. Yeah. So you were here. That's so weird. I don't know why I didn't get those questions. I was wondering where everybody was. Okay. Linoleic acid for fat. Are we talking about the omega linoleic acid, or are we talking? That's for Lucas. Lucas, if you're still on, are we talking about omega linoleic acid, like the megas, 3 mega 6, or are we talking about alpha linoleic acid or conjugate linoleic acid? So the natural trans fat. And Michael Reinhardt referred back to what I gave Michael Scalfini regarding healing from a torn meniscus naturally. Same kind of concept. Bone broth gelatin, Fibrenza, fire cream, extra comfrey. So it's funny that both Michaels asked a similar question there, and neither one. They both had a similar question, and they probably both thought I was talking to them. So, Lucas, if you could clarify that there. Going back to apple cider vinegar, is coconut vinegar better? Honestly, I've never really used too much coconut vinegar. I've seen the most benefit saying medicinally without actually saying medicinally from apple cider vinegar, and with that it has to do with the fact that the mother is usually still in there. Coconut vinegar, it's usually distilled and the mother's gone, so you're losing a lot of benefit from that. In terms of just using it culinarily, yeah, coconut vinegar is fine. I wouldn't say it's better than apple cider. I've seen this advertised for both. What, linoleic acid for arthritis? Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd be mostly CLA. So I did a video on CLA, I'll post to that. I'm not the biggest fan of CLA as a supplement. The biggest problem with CLA is that it's generally coming from safflower, high oleic safflower or sunflower oil, and the problem with that is that for fat burning now. So the problem with that though is that when we're talking about CLA, that form not necessarily the best, because there's two main forms. There's 9-11 and then there's 10-12, and it basically just refers to where the double bond is in those conformations, where the trans form conformation is. And the 9-11 is the more common one in naturally occurring sources, so grass-fed dairy, grass-fed meats, whereas the 10-12, there's a little bit in the natural occurring sources, but they try and actually put them into a 50-50 split, and we may actually see increased inflammation. No bueno. Enoki mushrooms, fat burning. Yeah, definitely a big fan of medicinal mushrooms. Could it help? Yeah. In terms of pure targeting it, yes. Can it help to improve lipolysis? Absolutely. Is it going to target fat loss in the sense of, I take this, I'm now going to burn a whole bunch of body fat? Probably not. You're still gonna, if you do that in isolation without actually cleaning up your diet, you're not going to see the results you really want to see. How much apple cider vinegar a day? Well, again, that really depends on what we're talking about, Lisa. Are we talking about it from a perspective of healing your gut? Are we talking about it in the perspective of acute food poisoning? So it really depends. If we're working on our gut health, particularly if you have chronic heartburn or if you have potential ulcers and things like that, I'd probably say for a daily thing, 1 tablespoon, maybe 2 a day. If you're looking at an acute, that you ate something that you shouldn't have, or you ate something that was either parasites or something to that effect, what I would look at there is a shot. So that's essentially 3 tablespoons, slightly more actually because it's 1.5 ounces, so about 5 tablespoons, 4.5 tablespoons I would guess, because there's 3 tablespoons in an ounce. So 4.5 tablespoons. So shot glass, just pour it in, knock it back. In terms of just going for a daily case, I know people that do the shot, works for me, or you can do 1 to 2 tablespoons. You should be fine, just for general purposes. All right, what other questions do we have going on? Let's see if, again, I'm going to see if I missed any more. I gotta see where I can see these, because that's weird. I don't know why I didn't see those questions. 19, okay, 19 comments. Okay, can you guys see the whole comment stream now? No problem. That's so weird. Alright. So, what else we got going on? We got about another 5 minutes or so before we call it a wrap. What kind of questions we have left? Covered a whole bunch today, though, despite me not being able to see a bunch of the questions. Hey, Vinny, what's up, brother? Looking for a couple more questions before we close this out. If somebody can... if somebody sees any questions that I missed, because for whatever reason I can't see them all right now, for some odd reason that I can't figure out, or any other last questions you have as I try and pull it up on a computer that's nearby me. But yeah, we covered a whole bunch of different things, recovering from injuries, arthritis, best food sources of pastured versus non-pastured, organic versus non-GMO eggs, as I'm just screwing everything up at this point, going off screen and everything, trying to see these questions. All right. But yeah, so as we're getting ready to wrap it up, think about those last questions. I just want to thank everybody that's on for now, though, and everybody that was on before, everybody's watching the replay. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check it out. You know, I'm happy to be coming on these Monday nights with Mike, answering the questions, and you know, any other questions, if you weren't on live and you want to get them in, shoot me a message, shoot me a text, shoot me an email. You know, I put these out I put daily videos out every day. If you aren't already subscribed over on YouTube, please head over, youtube.com/MikeTheCaveman. Crazy, right? Same over on Instagram, Twitter, Mike the Caveman. Occasionally put out other content, and over here on Facebook, I'm Paleo on Long Island, but you know, every day. Okay, here we go. Probably general. Brian says probably a general question, but and take more than 5 minutes to explain. But how do I get ripped? And the answer is eat some real food. Essentially, eat food. Eat quality foods and exercise, right? It's the easy answer. Most people, though, think you just got to eat no food. No. Eat lots of quality foods and you'll be ready to go. So, best things to do. Quality animals, quality fats, lots of vegetables, occasional fruit, depending on what we're talking about, what the end goal is, depending on what your workouts are like. If you are working out super intense, potentially even some non-starch, some starchy vegetables, things like sweet potatoes, things like yucca, taro, plantains, but more often than not, stick to non-starchy vegetables. You need a calorie deficit, sort of. So the thing is, most people get so hung up on that calorie deficit that they lose the forest for the trees, all right? You get neurotic about food, thinking about how am I going to maintain this deficit? No, forget that. Eat those real foods. And what's going to happen is your body's going to naturally start to essentially, regulate itself. So focus on the hormones. By eating more quality fats, eating fibrous vegetables, fibrous non-starchy vegetables, you get yourself off that blood sugar roller coaster, and your body starts to regulate itself. You don't have those hunger swings, and you start to eat less. That's the general idea. So how many calories should you be eating a day? That really depends on what your activity level's like. Again, I do not like calories. Calories are not... calories are overrated. You think... Again, at the end of the day, if you're trying to go from 10% body fat to 7% body fat, then yeah, you're going to want to actually look at calories a little bit. Sure. But that's trying to optimize things from a physique perspective, to go from a low to a super low number. And even then, even when I was cutting weight, I cut weight for fights, dropped 20 pounds, never counted a calorie once, because it doesn't matter in the end. It does, but it's more important to focus on the hormonal chemistry, and you're right, it's a little bit more than I can do in 5 minutes. Essentially, eat that food. Eat the ones I talked about, non-fibrous vegetables, quality fats, lots of quality fats, coconut oil, avocado while you still can get it, grass-fed dairy potentially if you can handle it, if your body allows it, grass-fed animals, pasture-raised, so grass-fed ruminants, pasture-raised pork and chicken, and other poultry if you can get your hands on it, eggs, all the quality fats there, grass-fed butter, etc., etc. In terms of wanting to do P90X, new year, new ambition, right? Just so relatively high intensity there, sort of, depending on how hard you really push it yourself. Occasional sweet potatoes might help, but try again. Go with low-ish carb and see how you feel. If you feel completely run down during a workout, up the carbs. If you don't feel run down, lower the carbs. That's pretty much it. Most people are pretty sedentary. You don't need that many carbs if you're that sedentary. Pretty much it. Can you do P90X and get good results without managing calories? Yeah, again, eat real foods. Try it. Again, give it 30 days. Cut out the grains, cut out the legumes. Eat lots of fibrous vegetables, lots of those fats and animals. Definitely without counting calories. You can do it without counting calories. Nick says, I've been getting Charlie horses recently. What could be causing it? Generally, we're looking at, no problem, man. We're generally looking at electrolyte imbalances. So, up the potassium, up the magnesium. In terms of best source of potassium, actually going to be beet greens. Weird source, I know, but saute them, lightly steam them, add some quality fats, and they'll help you out potassium. Avocados are another excellent source, as are sweet potatoes. So, get up the up the potassium, up the magnesium. So, lots of different foods have magnesium in them. Dark chocolate, you get my friends eating evolved dark chocolate, be a great idea. Or, just get it in. Dave, what's up, brother? I see you popped on. You actually were the first question. I covered that already. So go back and watch the replay. It'll be right at the end. Murray says, would love to see more dairy-free recipes on your site, please. I'll see what I can do. I haven't done a recipe video in a while, and I really have to. Because, people like them, and I just haven't had the time for it right now. I'll have to come back on that. No problem, Nick. Any last questions as we're getting ready to close it up? Mickey, what's up? I see you jumping in. Last question to recap. So what you're saying is basically don't just eat that much crappy food and I'll be fine. Pretty much. Yes. Essentially what I'm saying is when you eat real foods, so I'll side tangent on that real quick. Most foods today, particularly the processed ones, are designed to be hyperpalatable. They're designed to be eaten in excess, and they are designed to hit three main things: salt, sugar, and fat. And you put the three of them together, and they are able to basically overwire. They're hardwiring your brain to say, I need more. Cut that crap out, and more often than not, like the vast majority of people, unless we're looking at some other stuff, which, yes, sometimes we are, and that's where we gotta dial it in. That's when you need to work with a professional. Hi, how you doing? More often than not, just eat real food. It's a pretty simple concept, pretty straightforward. Like that was more mean than I wanted it to be. It's more of like a dick statement than I wanted it to be. Essentially, just eat it. Just try it. What do you have to lose? Definitely need to start shopping for real foods. I shall do that. Great, awesome, man. Definitely glad to hear it. So I think we're gonna about wrap this one up. Again, thanks everybody for hopping on. If you have other questions, again, feel free to comment them in the comment box here. Shoot me a message with them if you want to do more in private. And give me more videos to do during the week, or next Monday, 8 o'clock, as usual, Monday Nights with Mike. Hop on in. All right, guys. Thanks again for coming on, and I'll see you tomorrow.